And besides that, a book is more likely to be kept by a student. If you have handouts, the handouts could get ripped up, thrown away, lost, unless they're super organized and put it in a binder or something. But if you have a book, it's easier for them to keep it, find it. It's easier for them to focus their attention on this book. When they want to study, they know they get the book, they open the book. It's more likely they'll keep the book so that they can go back and look at it for reference, review, study from it. So books have a lot of important qualities. They seem to be more solid. They take more space in people's view. They're more important in a way. So it's really good to get a very good textbook. And if you want to have the students use the textbook, use the textbook. Now, in our class, we also have a workbook. I have them buy the workbook to this textbook. There's actually 3 levels of workbooks. And what I do is I have the students buy the textbook that's at their level. I have a mixed class sometimes because it's a free school. Sometimes we don't have those great volunteer teachers and I have to teach every class. Beginners mixed up with intermediates. So we have workbooks, and what I do now is I have workbook time. Now, what is workbook time? It's the last hour or half hour of class, and all the students do is work on their workbooks, and I walk around and help them if they have any questions and make sure they do their workbooks correctly. So, during workbook time, what happens if a student doesn't have a workbook? It's okay. They can either share with a neighbor or they can just go home early. In any case, I just tell the students, if you don't have the workbook, you just can't participate in workbook time. So just go home, and maybe if you have the time or the money to spend on a workbook, then later you can buy the workbook and you can join us in workbook time. Now, I find workbook time very valuable for me because teaching for 3 hours in a row is not easy. So you'd like to have time at the end where you don't have to be talking all the time. Your students can practice writing, in their workbook, reading, writing, which is good. And you can walk around. It's a different kind of atmosphere. It's really good. I really enjoy it. And the last point I wanted to make is that if you use books, like this book and my workbook, and you know that in general using the grammar from this book, although it's handouts, when you have different teachers sub for you, it's easier to sub, because if you're always making handouts and then you have to somehow transfer the handouts to the other teacher, that's kind of a hassle. Whereas if you have a book and the teacher teaches in the same school as you, knows the same book, they just teach a different level class, they can combine the class together. If everyone's using the same book, they can teach your class, no problem. They know the book already, they know the workbook, they know workbook time. So if you have a class, if you have a school like we do with different classes, but the teachers teach maybe on different days, but sometimes they want to come in and sub. If they're familiar with the book, then it's really easy for them to sub for you because you got a system down, so no problem. And that's another reason using one book as the main curriculum is a very important yet very it's a very wise move if you have a lot of if you have the situation where I have, but in general, if you have teachers you want to sub a lot, sometimes come in, come out, if you have to mix classes up, put them together, take them apart, and you want it to be easy, using the same main book for all your classes is also a plus. We use this actually for our beginner and our intermediate and any class we use, because the vocabulary is something that all levels need to learn, and we just teach it faster for the higher level students and slower for the slower level students, that's all. And so if I ever have to combine the beginners and the intermediates because all my teachers are sick or it's Christmas and nobody's coming to work, then it's easy because everybody's still using the same book. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. I really love this book. As you can tell, I don't work for them either, so it's just a really good book. And I highly recommend that you also pick a main textbook for your class. And if you're doing ESL, this is probably a really good one, but I think this is a really good one too. It depends on if your students have the money to buy this book or not. Alright, well, if you have any comments or suggestions on the value of books using a textbook, let us know. Leave a comment and then we can have a discussion. And I hope that this is a good way to begin a very good discussion to help teacher development. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this video. I hope it helped. Okay, thanks. Bye.